In the summer of 1945, Don Vito Corleone's daughter, Connie, is getting married to Carlo Rizzi. Don Vito, the leader of the Corleone mafia family, is also called the Godfather. During the wedding, he and the family's lawyer, Tom Hagen, listen to people asking for favors. One of them is Amerigo Bonacera, an old friend of Don Vito, whose daughter was hurt by two men who got off lightly. Since Don Vito's wife is the godmother of Bonacera's daughter, he uses this connection to strengthen Bonacera's loyalty. Don Vito agrees to have his men deal with the men who hurt Bonacera's daughter. At the wedding, the Don's youngest son, Michael, a war hero just back from World War II, shows up with his girlfriend, Kay Adams. He explains his father's criminal activities to Kay, but promises her he won't get involved. Michael also introduces Kay to his family. Frito, his older brother, isn't very smart. Sonny, the oldest brother, is hot-headed and cheats on his wife, sneaking off with one of Connie's bridesmaids, Lucy Mancini. Tom Hagen, who isn't a blood relative, was taken in by the Corleone family when he was homeless as a boy. Now a skilled lawyer, Tom is being prepared for the important role of consigliere, advisor, to the Don. At the wedding, famous singer Johnny Fontane, Don Corleone's godson, asks for help getting a movie role to save his struggling career. The studio boss, Jack Woltz, refuses to give Johnny the role, but Don Corleone assures him, "I'll make him an offer he can't refuse." He sends Tom Hagen to Los Angeles to negotiate with Woltz. Woltz refuses at first, angry because Johnny had an affair with a young actress Woltz was involved with. The next morning, Woltz wakes up to find the severed head of his prized $600,000 racehorse, Cartoon, in his bed, convincing him to change his mind. The Corleone family meets with Virgil the Turk Sollozzo, who is supported by the rival Tattaglia family. Sollozzo asks Don Corleone to fund and protect his heroin business, offering huge profits. However, Don Corleone refuses, saying that dealing in drugs would risk his political connections. During the meeting, Sonny, the Don's oldest son, impulsively questions Sollozzo's promises, which annoys his father, who later scolds him in private. Don Corleone sends Luca Brasi to spy on Sollozzo's group, but during a meeting, Sollozzo and Bruno Tattaglia trap Brasi, stabbing his hand and killing him by strangling him with a wire. Shortly after meeting with Sollozzo, Don Corleone is shot in an assassination attempt. Fredo, who was supposed to be protecting his father since Paulie Gatto, the usual bodyguard called in sick, fails to act effectively. When Sonny hears about the attack and Paulie's suspicious absence, he orders Clemenza to bring Paulie to the Don's house. Meanwhile, Sollozzo kidnaps Tom Hagen and tries to convince him to persuade Sonny to accept the drug deal. Furious, Sonny rejects the offer and threatens the Tattaglia family with a bloody gang war unless they hand over Sollozzo. Instead, the Tattaglias send a chilling message: 2 fresh fish wrapped in Luca Brasi's bulletproof vest, signaling that Brasi has been killed and sleeps with the fishes. Clemenza later takes Paulie and a hitman, Rocco Lamponi, on a drive to Manhattan. Along the way, Clemenza asks Paulie to stop in a quiet spot so he can relieve himself. While Clemenza is outside, Rocco shoots Paulie dead. They leave Paulie's body in the car behind. Meanwhile, Michael, who is not involved in the family's criminal activities, visits his father at the hospital. He is shocked to find the Don unguarded and realizes another attempt on his father's life is being planned. Acting quickly, Michael calls Sonny for help, moves his father to a safer room, and waits outside to watch the entrance. When Enzo the baker arrives to pay his respects, Michael convinces him to help scare off Sollozzo's men as they drive by. Soon after, police arrive, including a corrupt captain. Captain McCluskey breaks Michael's jaw after Michael accuses him of being paid by Sollozzo to help set up his father. Shortly after, Tom Hagen arrives with licensed private detectives to guard Don Corleone. In response to the attack, Sonny orders the killing of Bruno Tattaglia, the son and underboss of Don Philip Tattaglia. Sollozzo then requests a meeting with the Corleones, bringing McCluskey as his bodyguard. Michael volunteers to kill both Sollozzo and McCluskey, arguing that McCluskey is fair game since he's working with Sollozzo. During the meeting at a restaurant, Michael is frisked for weapons, but retrieves a hidden gun from the bathroom and shoots both Sollozzo and McCluskey. Michael is sent to Sicily for safety, while the Corleone family braces for all-out war with the 5 families, who have united against them, along with increased pressure from the police and government. Meanwhile, Connie's marriage to Carlo begins to fall apart as they argue over Carlo's suspected cheating. One day, Sonny notices a bruise on Connie's face, and she admits Carlo hit her after she confronted him about an affair. Furious, Sonny beats Carlo badly for abusing his pregnant sister. Humiliated and angry, Carlo conspires with the Tattaglia family and Don Emilio Barzini, the Corleone's main rivals, to set a trap for Sonny. Carlo beats Connie again to provoke Sonny. When Connie calls the family home in tears, Sonny drives off alone to confront Carlo. On his way, Sonny is ambushed at a highway toll booth and gunned down by multiple hitmen armed with Thompson submachine guns. Don Corleone returns home from the hospital, heartbroken to learn that Michael killed Solozzo and McCluskey and that Sonny has been murdered. Instead of seeking revenge for Sonny's death, he arranges a meeting with the heads of the 5 families to negotiate peace. The ongoing war is depleting their resources and threatening their survival, and a truce is the only way for Michael to safely return home. Don Corleone agrees to provide political protection for Tattaglia's heroin business, with the condition that it is strictly controlled and not sold to children. During the meeting, Don Corleone realizes that Don Barzini, not Tattaglia, was the mastermind behind the war and Sonny's death. In Sicily, Michael lives in hiding under the protection of Don Tomasino, a trusted family friend. He spends his days wandering the countryside with his bodyguards, Carlo and Fabrizio. In a small village, Michael meets Apollonia Vitelli, a beautiful young woman and the daughter of a bar owner. They fall in love, and after a traditional Sicilian courtship, they get married. However, Michael's enemies eventually discover his location. As plans are made to move the couple to a safer place, their car is bombed, killing Apollonia. Michael narrowly survives and sees Fabrizio fleeing the scene, revealing his betrayal in the assassination attempt. Michael returns home and, in 1950, reunites with his former girlfriend, Kay, after 4 years apart, 3 spent in Italy and 1 back in America. He proposes to Kay, telling her he wants them to marry, and she accepts. Now, leading the Corleone family, Michael assures Kay that he plans to make the family business fully legitimate within 5 years. 2 years later, Peter Clemenza and Salvatore Tessio, 2 Corleone family captains, express frustration about being pushed around by the Barzini family and ask Michael for permission to retaliate. Michael denies their request, explaining that the family is planning to move its operations to Nevada, after which Clemenza and Tessio will be allowed to form their own families. Michael also promises Connie's husband, Carlo, a key role as his right-hand man in Nevada. Meanwhile, Tom Hagen is removed as consigliere and becomes the family's lawyer, with Vito stepping in as consigliere. Privately, Hagen expresses his dissatisfaction with his reduced role and questions Michael about the secret group of soldiers being built under Rocco Lampone. Don Vito reassures Hagen that Michael is following his guidance. About a year later, Michael travels to Las Vegas to meet Mo Green, a wealthy and sharp casino owner aiming to grow his business. After the attempt on Don Corleone's life, Fredo had been sent to Las Vegas to learn the casino trade under Green. Michael offers to buy out Green's casino, but Green rudely refuses, believing the Corleones are weak and expecting a better deal from Barzini. During the tense negotiation, Fredo sides with Mo, undermining Michael. After the meeting, Michael sternly warns Fredo never to take sides with anyone against the family again. Michael returns home, and in a private conversation, Vito warns him that their enemies will try to kill him. He explains that they will likely use a trusted ally within the family to arrange a meeting as a trap. Vito also shares his regret about Michael's involvement in the family's criminal life, admitting he had hoped his youngest son would achieve legitimate power as a senator or governor. A few months later, Vito dies after collapsing in his garden. At his funeral, Tessio approaches Michael with a proposal for a meeting with Barzini, revealing himself as the traitor Vito had predicted. Michael arranges for a series of murders to occur simultaneously while he is standing godfather to Connie's and Carlo's newborn son at the church. Don Strachey is gunned down along with his bodyguard in a hotel elevator by Clemenza. Mo Green is killed while having a massage, shot through the eye by an unidentified assassin. Don Cuneo is trapped in a revolving door and shot dead by soldier Willie Sicci. Don Tattaglia is assassinated in his bed, along with a prostitute, by Rocco Lampone and an unknown associate. Don Barzini is killed on the steps of his office building, along with his bodyguard and driver, shot by Al Neri, disguised in his old police uniform. After the baptism, Tessio believes he and Hagen are on their way to the meeting between Michael and Barzini that he has arranged. Instead, he is surrounded by Willie Sicci and other button men as Hagen steps away, realizing that Michael has uncovered his betrayal. Meanwhile, Michael confronts Carlo about Sonny's murder and forces him to admit his role in setting up the ambush, having been approached by Barzini himself. Michael assures Carlo he will not be killed, but his punishment is exclusion from all family business. He hands Carlo a plane ticket to exile in Las Vegas. However, when Carlo gets into a car headed for the airport, he is garroted to death by Clemenza on Michael's orders. Later, a hysterical Connie confronts Michael at the Corleone compound as movers carry away the furniture in preparation for the family move to Nevada. She accuses him of murdering Carlo in retribution for Carlo's brutal treatment of her and for his suspected involvement in Sonny's murder. After Connie is removed from the house, Kay questions Michael about Connie's accusation, but he refuses to answer, reminding her to never ask him about his business or what he does for a living. She insists, and Michael outright lies, reassuring his wife that he played no role in Carlo's death. Kay believes him and is relieved. The film ends with Clemenza and new capo regimes Rocco Lampone and Al Neri arriving and paying their respects to Michael. Clemenza kisses Michael's hand and greets him as Don Corleone. As Kay watches, the office door is closed. Michael is the new Godfather. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video like this.